It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Sproles, ends it. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! Did he get it?
Welcome back to the Full Court Press, second hour, here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM The Fan, streaming online at 1069thefan.com and the 1069 The Fan mobile app. Welcome on in to the 5 o'clock hour on a Tuesday. Good old Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Let's what
do
it
it.
is. It's
Let's
not
go.
I was about to say it's not Preview Tuesday, but it kind of is. We're going to be previewing a little bit moving forward with Utah State. We'll actually be looking back, probably our last big look back onto the 2023 Region 11 football season. The Desert News, they're the ones who pretty much do the all-state teams. We'll kind of compare and contrast their all-state teams with what we had with our all-region teams.
Yeah.
Obviously, all-state covering the entirety of 4A, and our all-region is, well, it's in the name. Also talking about the Utah Jazz. We talked about the Utah Jazz. We're going to be talking about the Utah State Aggies basketball. Their crucial week coming up. We just had a week where they played San Diego, a team that's in the 200s, almost low 200s, lower high 200s. The worst end of the 200s as far as NET, KenPom, whatever ranking system you want to use. Then they played a Division II team, so kind of an easy week. Now they're going to be facing a couple of tougher teams in Santa Clara and San Francisco, and we're also going to touch on bracketology. But let's start with the Aggies, because as I mentioned, a pretty easy week last week by pretty much most metrics. Looking at the KenPom rankings, you play. I guess San Diego climbed. They were I think in the 260s, or maybe they were in the 230s. Maybe I had the wrong end of the 200, but they're 228 in KenPom. Aggies win that one 108-81. They won that one going away. Then they beat Northwest Nazarene, a team that's Division II, so they're not ranked anywhere. It's a game that doesn't count in the NET.
Doesn't really affect it, right?
So you get the free win there, basically. You win that one by 31 points. Well, now they're going to be facing up against Santa Clara, who was 142 in KenPom. I don't have the NET rankings in front of me.
I just pulled those up. For Santa Clara?
Yeah, Santa Clara.
They are 141.
So pretty much right where...
They moved down a few spots. They were 139 yesterday, but...
Okay, so they're sitting at 142 in KenPom, 141 in the NET. So right now, that's an away game. That's just on the outside of being a Quad 2 game. Because it's 76 to 135 is Quad 2. So right now it's sitting at kind of a high Q3 is what that game would be. Of course, Danny Sprinkle, we'll play some of the audio tomorrow when we do our specific Santa Clara preview. Basically, the Santa Clara teams is the best team they faced so far. Will be the best team they faced so far, obviously using future tense since they haven't played them yet. Which is saying something considering they've played Bradley, Akron, Stephen F. Austin, UC Irvine. You go off KenPom, all those teams are ranked above Santa Clara.
Yeah, Bradley's 100. Akron is 108. Stephen F. Austin, 135. So those are all teams that are ahead of them. Marshall, they're 234.
Yeah, not quite close.
No.
So it's interesting with Santa Clara, but obviously you get Santa Clara and San Francisco. And the NET, San Francisco is aren't they in the top 40?
They are 48.
48, top 50. So this is a game, of course, it'll be neutral, and so that'll be just a hair inside Quad 1.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous there. San Francisco was in the mid-40s earlier in the week, and they've been slowly dropping. And I have to see what their schedule what that is before they face the Jazz. The Aggies.
Aggies.
Sorry, I pulled up the Jazz page.
I'm not the only one. So I think the thing is they went and played Vanderbilt in New Orleans, a couple of teams that are in the upper 200s. At least in the KenPom. That's the problem. I'm using the KenPom schedule, and it doesn't have their NET number. It has their KenPom rank. So it's hard to...
Well, they will play... They will host Seattle on Wednesday.
They'll face Seattle. So, honestly, their schedule kind of looks similar to Utah State's. Because they're
Seattle 132.
Yeah, they're going to play a team that's kind of in that, I guess that 130, obviously, Santa Clara is sitting in the 140. So, but, within a handful of ranks. And then they're both going to play a really tough neutral site, air quotes, game. So, the Aggies, see, I almost did it too, the Jazz. You need to get the Jazz out of our minds. We're trying to move into Utah State basketball. So, overall, this is going to be a tough week for the Aggies. This is going to be their biggest test. They've played some decently tough teams, but not really back-to-back. You can maybe say Akron and Stephen F. Austin were kind of tough back-to-back, but neither of them were really as good as San Francisco. So they were both just kind of, that upper mid-tier, mid-major opponent. San Francisco's that upper tier. It's the kind of tough teams the Aggies are going to face in the Mountain West, with the Boise States and the Nevadas. Not quite to the same level as the, right now, New Mexico and Colorado State and San Diego State, the way those teams are playing. But it's a tough team. And with San Francisco, it's also the chance for the Aggies to get kind of their first look at a marquee win. It's not one that's going to blow anyone away. But assuming, if the Aggies win both of these games, which you take that every day of the week, that'd be spectacular for the Aggies. You'd almost just have to hope for a 1-1, split these two games. Let's say the Aggies win both. Then they probably bump San Francisco back out of Quad 1. But if San Francisco gets back in, then, you get yourself a non-conference Quad 1 win. That'd be a huge win.
Yeah, what's interesting about San Francisco is that they've lost to Boise State earlier in the year. They're going to play the Aggies, obviously, this weekend. They play Fresno State in a few weeks. So they kind of have a little mini Mountain West schedule that they have. But this is a team that's in the West Coast Conference. So they're going to play St. Mary's. They're going to play Gonzaga. They're going to have some good games on their schedule that will help their net ranking. This is a team that, as you mentioned, they beat Vanderbilt. They beat Minnesota. They did lose to Arizona State. So this is a team that has some good games on their schedule that will help Utah State. Obviously, it will help the Aggies the most if USU can get the victory on Saturday. But this is a really important week for USU. Perhaps its most important non-conference week, period. You could maybe make an argument for the Cayman Islands, because those were some decent teams collectively. This week you've got one really good team and one that's not bad, but it's at their place, so it can be tough. But this is a really, really important week for Utah State. After this, they have ETSU. Aggies should be able to take care of business at home for that. And then you're into conference play. It is right around the corner, staring at Utah State. And this is a really, really big week for the Aggies because they've made a lot of great strides this year, especially after that Southern Utah game. When Coach got after them, this does appear to be a different team. They have to be able to keep that going if they want NCAA tournament hopes in March.
You mentioned the importance of that Cayman Islands, where I think at the time, that was, super important, but kind of for a different reason. Because non-conference schedule-wise, this week was probably still going to be tougher just because San Francisco and Santa Clara, one's a road, one's neutral site, and they're both good teams. the importance of Cayman Islands was just establish something for this team. Like, who is this team? What are they? We don't know anything about this team. Because, I mean, at that point, going into the Cayman Islands, they played, a Division II opponent in the opener, and a Division II opponent in exhibition. Lost on the road to, what seemed like a decent Bradley team. And then they got into kind of a shootout with an SUU team. It's like, who on earth were the Aggies at that point? We didn't know. Cayman Islands kind of established. This is a team that's going to play some good defense, and, and there's a couple of games where they can really get out and run and score. And that was starting to set the tone going forward because, with games at St. Louis and UC Irvine, that's kind of establishing it. There's some good offense and there's some good defense. And now here's a chance for the Aggies, not necessarily to prove themselves, because this isn't the end-all, be-all of proving who they are, but it's a chance, as I said, kind of get some notable wins. These are the kind when you're sitting there late in February and you're on CBS or CBS Sports Network and they're putting up the, here's their best wins and worst losses. The games this week are the kind that they're going to put up there. They're going to put up San Francisco and Santa Clara and say, hey, these are their best wins. And, against teams that are, San Francisco may be fighting to be on the bubble late in the season. It'll be tough for them to win their conference, seeing as it's got St. Mary's and Gonzaga in it.
Yeah.
But they're going to be a team fighting to be on the edge there and maybe try and make a West Coast Conference a 2 or 3 bid league, as it has sometimes been. So those are going to be your potential marquee non-conference games. Obviously, there's some conference games the Aggies can add to that same, best wins column. But this is where the Aggies can prove something of themselves. Prove themselves to the outside world. Because these first games, the Cayman Islands and a lot of these other games, it's proving the Aggies to themselves, to the fans. This is who we are. This is who we know we can be. Now it's time to start proving to, AP poll voters, bracketologists. The Aggies are here and they're coming for everybody. That they can do something. And that's where you begin turning around expectations. To right now, I'm kind of sticking with my 20 wins as the cap. They go through this week and are still 11-1. Yeah, you bet I'm going to start rethinking that.
Yeah, we're about a third of the way into the season now for Utah State, and I think what we've seen is that from not knowing anything about how this team would play together to what we know now, we see that this team has multiple playmakers. This team plays good defense, and this team has a lot more offense than we anticipated. This is a pretty balanced team. You've got a good inside of a presence. You have good outside, guys who can create from the outside, not outside shot makers. I'm not going to say that.
Danny Sprinkle is convinced this team is a much better shooting team. I don't think I'm as convinced as him. But
yeah, didn't he say that there'll be a game this year when they make 15 threes?
Yeah.
They haven't made more than 9 to this point.
Yeah, and last year's team only did that like 3 times.
Yeah.
And they were one of the best three-point shooting teams.
I mean, I appreciate him trying to set the bar high. But
yeah, it's like...
there may be a game, maybe not 15, but there could be a game where it clicks for a couple of guys. You just need a couple of guys, and then it becomes contagious, and everybody else wants to take a shot at it.
Yeah.
Because Aduje has that potential. Foslev has that potential. We know Brown can do it. Gosh, even Johnson can shoot from the outside. Yeah. He likes to shoot from the outside.
Ian Martinez
as well. So there are guys who can.
If all of them get hot at the same time, they could hit like 12 or 13. But again, that's like the peak. So
yeah,
like
it's not really part of the game plan, but it could happen.
Like you have a decent three-point shooter. They have the potential to shoot slightly better. Like you said, good offense. They're dominant inside. They're leading the country, or as of like yesterday they were leading. Maybe it's changed since then, but leading the country in field goal percentage. Great defense. Improving defense even. It's getting better.
Yeah.
At times. There's still some breakdowns, but they're getting better. They're getting better. Like early in the season, they were really struggling to guard guys in the perimeter. They were getting drove by. But you look at the game against San Diego, especially in that second half, guys are like going with all their might trying to drive, and they end up like middle baseline, 10, 15 feet from the hoop, trying to turn the corner, and they can't. So these guys are improving, but they're about to face, two really tough tests. Santa Clara, who's got a bunch of long 6'6" guards. San Francisco, I haven't really dug deep into them, at least since the early part of the year. But Yeah, there's a chance. The Aggies have proven they could go 2-0 this week. But that's the stretch goal. If they go 1-1, you probably take it.
To our full court press text line, 5338, weighing in, saying Scuttlebutt has it that Utah and Utah State will announce a multi-game scheduling agreement for football starting next year.
I haven't really looked into that, but that would be interesting.
Sounds great, but I'll believe it when I see it.
That's true. I'm skeptical. Like, I don't know. Part of me
I know
thinks
there's a change in leadership at both places.
Yeah,
in their athletic departments.
That's true, and I guess that's maybe where the biggest thing is, because for me, I felt like the two sides were too stubborn. One was like, for Utah State, we're not doing anything less than a 1-1 or home and home basically, whether a 2 or 4 year or whatever. And Utah was, we're only doing a 2-for-1 or 4-for-2 or whatever. And that's the way it was. Maybe Diana Sabo is less stubborn. Maybe Utah is going to be less stubborn about that. Somebody was going to have to cave, and we'll see exactly how it works.
Yeah, but if there are rumors to that effect all the time. I know that one of the comments from Diana Sabo, I don't remember if it was in her interview with you or with somebody else. She'd only been on the job for a little while, but just kind of the question was asked of her, like, what kind of feedback are you getting so far? And one of the top things that always comes up is scheduling with Utah and BYU. And that was something that she was going to go to work on. And that's, we'll see. That's all we'll see. Would it be great if those games were on the schedule? Yeah. Do they need to be on the schedule? Yes. But until it happens, there's not really much I can say.
Yeah, they need to be on there for basketball. For football, I've talked about this where it's just, I don't know what the Big 12's number of conference games is going to be like, but you can kind of understand. Well, I guess now that BYU and Utah are going to be in the same conference, they probably
it opens
should.
a window for they haven't played each other for a while anyway. This last weekend was the first time in a while. But they're going to be in the same conference, so there's going to be some non-conference windows open to them.
Yeah, and especially in football, because in basketball, even when everyone was in separate conferences, I didn't feel like there was an excuse. There really shouldn't have been. They should have been playing each other. You can get quality teams, travel costs go down. You can get a good team in your arena, but, return the favor and go back to their arena. Mm-hmm. There was really no excuse. And as far as playing every team in Utah, that's a bit of a stretch,
Yeah.
But get around to it.
It's not a bad loss for whoever it is.
Yeah. It's like you're not hurting yourself by playing them, and you're making yourself better when you win. So, you're helping your resume when you win. So there's no excuse. In football, there was a bit more of that. There was more of a built-in excuse. It's a little harder. There wasn't as much benefit for a Utah to be playing Utah State every year. Although even then, if you do a home and home, I don't know. I felt like there was more of an excuse in football, but you still felt like it should have happened at some point after, between 2013 and now, the Aggies haven't played the Utes.
Yeah, that is a big gap.
That's a
when
bit.
You consider the historic nature of those two teams in their history, with playing each other.
Yeah, it's the first collegiate football game in the state of Utah was Utah State and Utah. You got to at least try and continue that a little bit.
Yeah, for over 100 years, those two teams played each other.
Yeah, and so now that BYU and Utah in the same conference in football, that would open up a spot like, hey, play Utah State, at least regularly, if not every year. Yeah, but in basketball, it should be an every year thing, no questions asked. Home and homes, all around. But everyone's been too stubborn.
And some of that is for good reason, though, too. To stick to your guns. Like, hey, look, we're not just chopped liver here. We are a respectable program. We don't have to bend to your will and play a little brother. We want to play you, but we want to be on pretty equal terms if we can.
Yeah, that's the way you should be. And everybody really should be going to everyone, like I said, with the state of Utah. Like, Utah State, BYU, and Utah should be going to each other's venues on a rotating basis. Play each other every year, one of them on the road, one of them at home, or however the logistics work. But then also regularly playing Weber State and even going to Weber State or to UVU, to Utah Tech. You know, it's non-conference. Like, half of you are scheduling. Like the Aggies need to. I know it obviously takes two to tango, but like, do you have to play Northwest Nazarene? Do you have to play East Tennessee State? It's like the Aggies, they could have filled in one of those spots with them, but again, it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
So, like, there was room for this to happen. But somewhere along the way, it's getting lost in both football and basketball.
Yeah, let's hope that Diana Sabo can revive those talks and make something happen. Yeah. That's equitable.
Yeah, that would be the ideal, but I do have a feeling like if there's going to be an announcement, it's probably going to be a 2-for-1.
Well, and I guess that's the question. I mean, I'm maybe here on my high horse thinking it should be equitable, but as Aggie fans, after what's transpired over the past 10 years, would you just be happy to have a game between the Aggies and the Utes and the Aggies and the Cougars no matter what? Even if it is more favorable to either of those two schools with how many games are played in their venues versus how many are in Logan?
I don't think it's a huge loss. It's not that bad, especially because you never get Power 5 teams in here anyway, and you get a Utah in here. And I guess technically BYU counts as a Power 5 now. It's the only way you get Power 5 teams in your venue. But is that worth it? Is the price, you're already going to a Power 5 team every year. Is it worth it to go to their place twice just to be here to come once? Like, you do that with basically every other Power 5 team, but it's weird that it's different when you talk about Utah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a different attitude here when it's about Utah or BYU. And certainly, a lot more emotion tied to the BYU deal than the Utah deal, which always just blows my mind.
9-15, so you know that BYU is chicken. They won't even play UVU. Yeah, funny thing is, they were playing UVU in basketball at least. They were playing them regularly, even going to UVU.
Yeah, they made a trip there. They've made a few trips there.
But then they lost like 2 years in a row. I don't know if they're going to play him this year. They may be scared of playing UVU now. So that's possible. Does UVU even have a football team?
Utah Valley?
Yeah.
Football? No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No.
But yeah, BYU was playing UVU regularly, even home and homes. But yeah, they might stop playing them now because they keep getting beat. They keep having to try and take their players, take their coaches. Be like, stop beating us. Give us all your good players and coaches.
That's right.
Of course, now they're doing that. BYU and Utah are trying to do that to Utah State with their players. Well, and coach in one case.
So we kind of got off from what we were talking about earlier.
We did. We're talking about Utah State basketball.
This is a really big week for the Aggies. But looking at, as we mentioned earlier at the top of the hour, we're starting to see things, I don't want to say coalesce, but start to become a little bit more regular in these, trying to predict what will happen in March with the bracketology. So we need to take a time out. But when we come back, what are the different quote-unquote experts saying about the Mountain West? How many teams from the Mountain West are projected for the field right now? Are the Aggies in those discussions or not? Or they're on the outside kind of looking in? We'll discuss that next on the Full Court Press.
People gather to give thanks, renew friendships, and celebrate traditions will always be what the holidays are about. This is Brett Green, President of Cache Valley Bank. As we celebrate together, thank you for making us your preferred hometown bank and trusted tradition for achieving your financial needs and ambitions. We wish you a year filled with wonderful memories, good times, safety, and lots of happiness. We think you deserve it. Happy holidays from Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Don't get caught without power to your home or business. This is Tyler with Golden Spike Electric. We offer Generac backup generators to keep your home or business warm, avoiding frozen pipes, loss of valuable food, or even a flooded basement. Golden Spike Electric is certified and factory trained, so you know it will be installed right and properly maintained. Contact Golden Spike Electric so you'll never be without power again. Online at gsegenerators.com. We also service other brands, Golden Spike Electric and Generac, power you can count on.
It's never too cold or wet to get rid of that old vehicle. Now is the time to earn extra cash for the holidays by calling DD Auto and Salvage. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles, paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
It's ski season, Cache Valley, which means season ski rentals. This is Mark at the Sportsman, where we have over 20 years of season ski rental experience. We rent to kids and adults. Come in to get season ski rentals for your entire family. Starting at $69.99, you will get the right gear for your kids to ski this year at the Sportsman on Main Street in downtown Logan, with tons of parking in the back.
Welcome, friend. Nice to see you again at the Sportsman.
While you're doing whatever it is you do, we're testing, retesting, engineering, and re-engineering to keep up with you. We run together.
Your local Train dealer, JM Mechanical, has moved to 222 West 2850 North Logan, just north of Airport Road. Fast 24-hour heating service is available in Box Elder, Cache County, and Franklin County with a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
It's hard to stop a train.
This show is different.
The Doug Gottlieb Show.
Make him say, oh! Make him say, ah!
Ladies and gentlemen.
We're somehow in this place where Ryan Fitzpatrick said that Jared Goff is poor man's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was a really, really good, notch below Hall of Fame level quarterback. And that's exactly what Jared Goff is. He's good.
The Doug Gottlieb Show.
Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. The Aggies, Jazz, high schools, even the Pee Wee's T-ball team. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio. The Fan.
Winter is essentially here in full force. As we get deeper and deeper into December, make sure you prepare yourself as we continue for the next 3 or so or 7 months, however long winter lasts here in Logan. You can get 50 pounds of Blue Heat ice melt over at your local Napa Auto Parts. You can also pick up a set of Trico, Bosch, or Rain-X wiper blades. Napa can even help install them for you. Right there on the spot. You can get all that and more at one of your 5 locally owned Preston to Providence Napa Auto Parts locations. Mentioned bracketology before we went to break, and this will kind of be our first foray into this field, this science, if you will. Yeah. It's kind of become a science of both analyzing teams and also trying to guess what the selection committee does. And I wonder how much they feed into each other. How often do people on the actual selection committee look at bracket matrix, which is kind of where I go to get a look at these things. Because I know Joe Lunardi, Jerry Palm, those are kind of the big names as far as public-facing. They were guys who were pioneers in the field, especially Lunardi. And I don't think either of them, I don't know if Jerry Palm even does he have his bracketology out?
Yeah, he does.
Figured I didn't see it on because like I said, I go to Bracket Matrix, and they have a ton of different brackets. They even have rankings, so you can see who are the most reliable. For me, I look at it to kind of get a view of the consensus. But neither of the biggest names have Utah State on their brackets, and that's not really a surprise. And I don't think we need to argue that the Aggies should be in consideration right now. But when you start a season 9-1, you start thinking a little bit. You start thinking, all right, is this team going to get some votes in the AP poll soon? And for the Aggies, if they go 2-0 this week, they might get a vote. There might be somebody who puts them in, although it might just take longer because unless you get a flashy win which the Aggies don't have, or unless you start a season like 10-0 or 11-0, you're not getting votes because that's just how it is. It's hard for Utah State to earn a spot in the AP poll without just winning all their games or getting a big win. And they don't have that kind of game on their schedule. But there are a few people who actually have put the Aggies on their brackets.
Yeah. Bracket Matrix, who you'd mentioned, they right now examining 20 different brackets. That list will grow as the season goes on.
It'll get into like the 130s, I think, by the end of the year, close to that. It'll get over 100.
Yeah, it'll be a lot. But of 20 that are currently publicly available, Utah State's on 6 of them. Not enough to be in the field of 68, but very close to be on the outside looking in. Not the only ones. New Mexico also just on the outside.
They are right on the edge. They are the first team listed as far as other at-large. They're on 11 brackets. And then as far as Mountain West teams that are currently in, so to speak, you've got Colorado State, who's projected, they're in all 20 brackets. That's probably largely because for a lot of people, they're probably assuming they're going to be the one winning. But I mean, maybe San Diego State. I don't know. They're also in 20 different brackets. Nevada's in 14. So right now, based on bracket matrix, you have 2 teams that are pretty much universally considered in at the moment based on how they're playing. And then you've got Nevada, who's just probably barely in, Nevada, who's just barely out, and then Utah State kind of on the outside looking in. Funny enough, I don't think Boise State's even on here.
I double-checked. Jerry Palm, last time he did a bracket was back in early November. So as the season was getting going, and he hasn't updated it since.
Okay, because I was looking at bracket. Usually they have like CBS, because they got ESPN, which is Lunardi, and then CBS is usually his. And so I guess they haven't included him.
Yeah, because as I'm looking at this over, his list, I'm shocked by what I see here, in that he doesn't appear to have Colorado State.
But it's because it's old, and he didn't anticipate them, doing that good. Doing as good as they have. I don't know, like I said, I picked Colorado State to finish second in the Mountain West. I expected them to be pretty good. They, bring Isaiah Stevens back for a 11th year, I think.
For Colorado State?
Yeah, Colorado State.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been around a lot.
Then they brought in a pretty big junior college player, Scott. Can't remember his first name. But the guy I actually picked to be newcomer of the year in the Mountain West. I expected him to have a pretty good year. So Colorado State doing well, San Diego State, Nevada. And like I said, Utah State is starting to get noticed. Some of that is, being in the Mountain West and starting 9-1. They do get some credibility for that. And if they keep winning, people will start noticing.
Yeah, so Lunardi has Colorado State and San Diego State, but he also has New Mexico as part of the first 4. They're an 11 seed.
Yeah.
And Nevada is among the first 4 out.
And I wonder if some of these haven't quite updated, because I feel like Nevada and New Mexico have kind of flipped. Because I talked about my kind of that consensus computer rankings. Nevada was 2, New Mexico was 4. New Mexico jumped to 1, and Nevada dropped to 4. And I don't know if all these quite reflect that kind of change. It's a slight change. It's not like this massive drop and fall. But I think New Mexico's made a bit of a jump and would probably be ahead of Nevada by a lot of people's standards. But I don't know how soon some of these have been updated.
Well, Lunardi updated today, but as far as the other brackets that the bracket matrix is evaluating, that's
some of
unknown.
They actually do have some of the last updates. Some of them haven't been updated in more than a week, so maybe that's that. But still, you get the idea. Like right now, the Mountain West is looking at 3 teams probably in the tournament. That's what I talked about with those kind of consensus computer rankings, that you have 3 teams that are like in the top 35, and then you have Utah State and Nevada that are currently in the 50s, low 50s. So right on the edge. Like this has Nevada just in, Utah State just out. New Mexico's also just out. But like I said, they update things a little bit, and they probably jump in.
Yeah, that's why it's important this week that Utah State plays well, and other teams in the Mountain West pick up some good wins if they can with what's remaining on their schedule, because the Mountain West is a good league, but right now, not a lot of real premier victories on a lot of the Mountain West teams' resumes.
Yeah. I want to go to the Full Court Press text line because this kind of talks a little bit about it involves the San Francisco game. 7854 saying what will hurt the Aggies is the San Francisco game not being on TV. Says visibility is key.
Yeah, really weird. I didn't realize that until a media email that was sent out today. That there's no video, there's no TV, there's no streaming of the game.
Yeah, I don't
so
know.
It's only going to be available to those in the seats in the arena or those listening on radio.
You should send me with our high school gear, and I can just do play-by-play for the Aggies. I'm sure they'd.
How do you not find a way to get that somewhere streamed at least to watch that game?
And isn't the KMYU aren't they like based in Salt Lake?
Yeah, I don't know why they can't just come down the street.
They make the drive. They send Dave Fox up all the way from Salt Lake to Logan.
Unless it's a condition of being a quote neutral site game. But what is that? What does the TV matter?
I feel like it may have more to do with the Delta Center being stingy about it for some reason, probably. I don't know if that's actually the case, but I just get the feeling that somehow, some way, the Delta Center is being a jerk about this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that is. It seems silly.
I just get that feeling.
There's multiple. Seems to me that there would be multiple outlets available, but it's not happening.
Yeah, just something weird. Whatever. We'll be broadcasting a high school game out of the Delta Center later this year.
Yeah, we can make it happen. A video stream for that game.
We know how to video stream. But yeah, I don't know if they'd want us video streaming Utah State.
No, I think there's a rights issue.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of different complications. Like I said, of course, unfortunately, it does mean that it's fans aren't going to be able to watch it. The Utah State fans aren't going to be able to watch it, and everyone's going to be box score watching. Like all the bracketologists, it's going to be pure box score watching.
Yeah, I don't know why this couldn't be like an ESPN Plus. Just stream it on some platform online.
Yeah,
but
and it's probably going to be one of the better mid-major games of the day.
Yeah,
and nobody's going to be able to watch it.
It's a top 50, two top 50 teams playing each other.
Yeah, it's a little sad, but that's the way it is.
That's what it is.
You broadcast the D2 game, but you can't broadcast the San Francisco game.
Yeah, it seems weird.
Crazy. All right, we got to take another break. On the other side, I want to talk about Region 11 football. Kind of talk about it, bring it up one last time before we leave it in the past.
Finally put it to bed.
Finally put it behind us. But we'll be talking about the all-state teams, which players from Region 11 made it, kind of compare it to our own all-region teams. We'll talk about that next here on the Full Court Press.
Great gift ideas are at Jarek's Fine Jewelry for every budget. Pearl jewelry, sterling silver collections, watches, diamond and gemstone, earrings and rings, and the largest selection of engagement rings in northern Utah. With a gift from Jarek's this Christmas, whether you spend $5 or $5,000, the message is the same. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
Prodigy Brewing is the perfect place to meet up with family and friends this holiday season. Whether you're sipping on a carefully crafted brew, enjoying a delicious juicy burger, or biting into a sizzling wood-fire pizza, Prodigy Brewing is the place to be. Come in for Trivia Tuesdays or with friends and family to celebrate the season. Voted best craft beer and bar and grill in northern Utah. Cheers to making unforgettable memories at Prodigy Brewing on Center Street in downtown Logan. Prodigy Brewing, extraordinary service and family friendly.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
This is Two Pros and a Cup of Joe.
Justin Fields had a hell of a first half, but yeah, the late turnovers, the fumble, the interception, I don't know what the plan is moving forward. Look, the good news is they've got the number 1 and number 2 pick in the draft next year as it stands right now.
Two Pros, LeVar Arrington, Brady Quinn, and a Cup of Joe, Jonas Knox.
Weekday mornings from 4 to 7 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. Smile Train celebrates the cleft lip and palate community by empowering medical professionals in over 70 countries to perform essential cleft care in their local communities. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
They never could play it, but they sure can talk about it. Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker on the Full Court Press.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Feel free to join the show. Me, Jason Walker, and Eric Frandsen via the Full Court Press text line, 435-339-0321. Talking about broadcasting the San Francisco game. 9-315 said, can a USU fan use Facebook Live to stream without getting in trouble? Like take the iPad to the game and set up Facebook Live? Funnily enough, when I was talking to...
Yes, you will get in trouble.
Well, the thing is, I was talking to the SID. I was like, what if I just FaceTimed somebody and pointed it at the game? And she was like, maybe not. But then she did say if you did try and actually stream it, then yeah, there'd probably be issues with that. So
yes.
If you're sneaky enough, I guess, but
we're not going to recommend or...
I will not condone any actions taken as far as publicly broadcasting, licensed broadcasting rights or whatever. I don't know. Any unauthorized reproduction of this without the express written consent of the NCAA, Major League Baseball, or the President of the United States is prohibited. Anyway, I want to talk about high school football, kind of our last hurrah. The all-state teams came out today. Funnily enough, I think there was there's a Utah State commit who's a wide receiver. Suddenly forget his name. He was
from Corner Canyon.
Yeah, he was the 5A player of the year. So nice job there for Utah State. I mean, commit. He had over 1,100 yards.
He
receiving.
was the 6A player of the year.
Oh, 6A. Oh,
Take care. Wide receiver from Corner Canyon.
Yeah, so pretty good there.
1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns.
18. Wow, I undershot him by 700 yards. My memory's not working today, apparently.
Pretty solid year. Yeah, and he's committed to Utah State.
Yeah, so look forward to having another great wide receiver at Utah State. But looking at 4A all-state teams, those are the ones that involve all the high schools around here. Region 11. There's 4 regions in 4A, so it's a little more crowded. It's not just, who's the best quarterback out of, Region 10 and Region 11. Now you got 2 more regions to battle with. But even then, Region 11 doing pretty well. The player of the year was from Region 9, Steel Barbin Crimson Cliffs, the quarterback for the state champions.
That's hard to argue.
Yeah, 3,500 passing yards, 46 touchdowns through just 6 picks. Yeah,
he was a great player.
Yeah, can hardly argue with something like that. Although they exclude their player of the year from the first team because their first team quarterback is Nate Dolly.
Yeah, there's some people who do that. I've always thought that's kind of weird.
Yeah, we don't.
Some people do that because they, in theory, open up another opportunity for somebody to be mentioned. But I look at it as, how can you be a player of the year but not also on the first team?
Yeah. It's so obviously we do it where if you win player of the year, and the thing is we have to tell some of our voters, if you vote player of the year, include that person on your first team ballot.
Yes.
So, but yeah, Nate Dahl, I can't remember, is it Dolly or Dahl?
Dolly.
Dolly, okay. I learned the correct pronunciation, and then I forgot which one was which, and then I was confused. But yeah, he was first team All-State, and then obviously Brevin Egbert, who we picked as our overall player of the year, and region player of the year. He was first team All-State. Makes sense. Had about almost 2,000 yards. I think, was that 1,900 total yards or 1,900 rushing yards? That might be just rushing yards.
I think that's just rushing yards.
I think he had over 2,000 scrimmage yards and more than 30 overall touchdowns.
Overall, yeah.
Actually, I should mention a former Region 11 player, Titan Mason.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, he had himself a pretty dang good year at Desert Hills. So, former Logan High running back. Shame that he moved down there. So, he's just going down there. It's not like he was trying to ditch Logan. He just happened to move down there. But going down more Region 11 players, Graham Livingston, who was our offensive player of the year overall.
Yep.
Wide receiver for Ridgeline, 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns, almost 100 receptions. Very prolific receiver. He was first team All-State. Then looking at the defensive side, you've got Will Wheatley, who we listed as a defensive lineman, and in All-State he's listed as a middle linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to...
Sometimes these positions can change. It just depends on, I guess, who's voting. But, yeah, he was our defensive player of the year, first team All-State. Here, Colin Gibson, also from Green Canyon, another prolific tackler, for Green Canyon at linebacker.
He was on our honorable mention list, which is interesting to compare and contrast. Sometimes we miss one, sometimes they miss one.
Yeah, it happens. Sometimes there's also just disagreements.
Yeah.
But then, Green Canyon being well represented on the defense overall. I mentioned the two linebackers. Now they have two defensive backs, Dewey Egan and Carter Stembridge, both making first team All-State, and they were first team All-Region on our list.
Yeah, second team. The second team quarterback was Owen Wilson. He was out of Bear River. He was our second team.
So there you go.
Quarterback. So very similar there. Jace Roberts, also out of Bear River. We had him on our first team. He lands on the Deseret News second team. Brighton Williams, wide receiver out of Skyview. Both publications had him on their second team. Levi Painter, offensive lineman at Ridgeline. We had him on our first team. Des News has them on their second team. Easton Hammond from Ridgeline, sophomore offensive guard. Made the Des News second team. We had him as an honorable mention player. Crew Jones, defensive end from Ridgeline, had him on our first team. He was on their second. Kason Dana, also defensive lineman from Ridgeline, on both publications' second team. Trace Dustin from Ridgeline at a safety position. We had him on our first team. They had them on their second team. And then you look at the honorable mentions. A number of them, some of them, like Will DeCorver, he was a first teamer for us. And he just made honorable mention for the D News.
And I think he was first team All-State last year. So I guess a perceived dip for him for some reason. Maybe team success kind of hurt him. They weren't as successful as last year in some ways, but...
Yeah, defensive end Aiden Wilson at Bear River was another one that we had on our first team that they just have as an honorable mention.
Yeah, I thought he got really underrated this year.
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
Other players out of Region 11 that make honorable mention list: Carson Thatcher, the quarterback at Skyview. Garrett Zamel, tight end at Skyview. Connor Dean, offensive tackle Nixon at Skyview. Nixon Weston, offensive guard from Bear River. Porter Kennington for Mountain Crest. Cooper Clark out of Ridgeline. Tanner Farron from Green Canyon. And Talon Marble out of Bear River, another one who we had as a first-team athlete, and they just list him as an honorable mention.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I thought that Cooper Red got criminally underrated in our all-region. Just saying.
But did Cooper Red get any recognition?
I think he got honorable mention from Logan. Maybe second team. I think he was honorable mention.
I don't see him anywhere.
He's on honorable mention. He's not on the All-State, no.
On All-State. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, he's not on there. I thought he should have made like our second team.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
But I don't know. I watched him. Nobody else saw him. His stats weren't really in the computer very much. They didn't like update their stats very well, but he was really good. But just not on a very good team, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Good player on a not so great team. That's just kind of how it was for Logan. But yeah, those are the All-State. I mean, matches fairly well with what we had, which is about what you'd expect. Everyone can kind of recognize the greatness. For them, obviously, a lot of our first teams were on their second team. You see that when you're talking about all region versus all state. That's going to happen. So.
Yeah, but both publications recognizing that there was a good number of great players in Region 11 who made impacts for their teams and had great individual performances this last year, and it was a lot of fun covering them.
Yeah, it was a really good season for Region 11, other than end up with the title, but you got a team in the title game, had some excitement, some playoff runs, and we'll see how things go next season. But for now, that's the end of the 2023 season. All the awards, all the banquets, they're done.
They're all done.
All right, we're going to go to break, and we'll finish things up. Speaking of being done, we'll finish things up here on another edition of the Full Court Press coming up next.
It's ski season, Cache Valley. This is Mark at the Sportsman, where we mount bindings. If you need bindings mounted to your skis or snowboards, in most cases, we can do it in 48 hours or less. That's right, 48 hours or less. At the Sportsman, we can also tune, sharpen, wax, and repair your skis or board so they are ready for the season. Usually, we can get those done in 48 hours as well. For 73 years, we have been taking care of skis and boards only at the Sportsman on Main Street in downtown Logan with tons of parking in the back.
Check out the new Liberty Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in beautiful Montpelier, Idaho. We've got friendly staff, great service, fresh inventory, and the same values you expect in a small town. Montpelier, Idaho, a small town with great people to serve you, the people of Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah. You can now see most inventory online too at libertycdjr.com. We're the new Liberty Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram in Montpelier with warranty forever.
If cost is preventing you from calling an attorney after your accident, you can stop worrying now. You can call the Advocates and discuss your case with an experienced Cache Valley attorney at no cost to you. At the Advocates, when we say you pay zip, nil, nothing, we mean it. Our consultations are free and we don't get paid unless we win your case. Let us be your advocate and we will fight for the settlement you deserve without you ever opening your wallet. Call 801-355-5550 or chat online at utahodvocates.com.
Bank of Utah wants to give a heartfelt thank you to all who showed their support of their 11th annual Warm Bodies, Warm Souls clothing drive. Thanks to you and your donations, they were able to collect and deliver over 300 bags and barrels of warm clothes for people in need at 12 charities across Utah, including Cache Community Food Pantry in Logan. Thank you again for your help of the Bank of Utah Warm Bodies, Warm Souls clothing drive. Together, we are Utah. Find out more at bankofutah.com. Member FDIC, NMLS number 422914.
Stotz Equipment, your Cache Valley John Deere dealer, has the equipment to tackle any job, big or small. Discover the perfect compact utility tractor or construction equipment to boost your productivity and make your tasks a breeze. They can't wait to meet you. Find out which tractor is right for you today. Stotz Equipment is located on 541 West 8th North in Preston. Visit the store or check them out online at stotzequipment.com.
The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Finishing things up here on the Full Court Press. You're on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. I don't have time to play the little blurbs. We have to do a stat that blew our mind, player of the week, and also finish up our pick six because I messed up and our tiebreaker didn't resolve until after the show Monday.
That's right.
But I guess we can probably do that real quick just because it's only one small thing. And
yeah.
The line was Jordan Love touchdown passes over under 2.5. He only threw the one. Giants lose 24-22.
I should have got that 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
But I took the under, and you took the over.
Yeah, it's true.
So I got the tiebreaker.
There you go. So you won that one. But anyway, let's go to stat that blew our mind, player of the week. Let's start with the stat. What do you got, Eric?
So since April 6, 2021, the Milwaukee Bucks have won every time they play on a Tuesday. They're 22-0 on Tuesdays.
I hate those kind of stats. Stupidly random. Anyway, it's also a Tuesday. So are they playing today?
No, the next play next Tuesday is against San Antonio next week.
All right. Well, fun for them.
Yeah, they'll probably hit 23.
My stat is from earlier in the week. Is I don't know if it's so much as a stat, it's just a number. Shohei Ohtani deferring $680 million of his $700 million contract to the end of his contract. Like, that literally just blows my mind.
That does blow my mind.
Like, it fits the bill. All right. We have about 20 seconds. Who's your player of the week?
It's connected to that. It's got to be Shohei Ohtani's agent. Getting that richest deal in professional sports history.
There you go. My player of the week, I kept it local. I did pick Mason Falslev. Just a great week in basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know if he led the Aggies in scoring either game, but just really showing what he can do as a freshman. It's really impressive. But
outstanding.
Anyway, we'll talk about him and the rest of the Utah State Aggies tomorrow as we preview Santa Clara.